In this episode, we're diving into some of the most bizarre and chilling stories that will make you question everything. We're talking about the black-eyed children, a terrifying phenomenon that's been haunting people around the world. We'll also explore the creepy mystery behind the Bell Witch Cave, where a family endured relentless torment by an unseen force. Then we're taking you to Centralia, Pennsylvania, the real-life ghost town that inspired the Silent Hill games and films. With fires burning beneath its streets for decades, toxic smoke rising from the ground, and a history of forced evacuations, it's one of the most haunting places in America. You won't want to miss this. Stick with us till the end, because these stories are stranger and darker than anything you've heard before. The phenomenon of black-eyed children, BEC, has become a popular subject in paranormal circles, capturing the imaginations of both believers and skeptics. These entities are typically described as children with unnerving, solid black eyes, pupils and sclera alike, accompanied by a strange, often unsettling demeanor. They are usually reported as approaching people in isolated locations or near their homes, asking to be let inside or requesting assistance. Despite their innocent appearance, there is something deeply unsettling about these children, particularly when one gazes into their soulless eyes. The first major account of a black-eyed child sighting emerged in the late 1990s, after a post was shared on a paranormal forum about an encounter in Abilene, Texas. According to the poster, a man was approached at his door by two children, who initially appeared normal. However, when he looked into their eyes, he felt an overwhelming sense of fear and unease. The children, who claimed they were cold and needed to use the phone, became increasingly persistent, demanding to be let inside. The man, sensing something was terribly wrong, refused, and as he closed the door, he noticed their eyes, completely black, staring back at him. This account, along with a few others that followed, helped birth the black-eyed children legend. In these reports, the children are described as standing on doorsteps or appearing in cars on the side of the road, often asking for help or pleading to be allowed inside. Their behavior is often off-putting, disproportionately insistent for their apparent age, and many witnesses describe a feeling of dread or anxiety that intensifies during the encounter. Some note a sense of profound loneliness or sadness emanating from the children, while others report an eerie aura of malevolence. Theories about what the black-eyed children actually are have been widely debated. One of the most common suggestions is that they are extraterrestrial or interdimensional beings. The idea that these entities are alien in nature fits with certain patterns found in other UFO-related encounters, where beings disguise themselves as human children to observe or manipulate their victims. The coldness and unnaturalness of their behavior, combined with their request to enter homes, seem to evoke an almost alien sense of otherness. Another popular theory links the black-eyed children to supernatural entities, such as vampires or other malevolent spirits. The repeated requests to be let inside resemble the classic lore of vampires, who are often said to need an invitation to enter a home. The unblinking, intense stare and the overall chilling presence of the children have led some to draw parallels with the folklore of evil spirits, which often manipulate people through emotional or psychological means rather than physical force. Some have even speculated that these children could be demonic entities, using their innocent appearance to gain access to the homes or minds of unsuspecting individuals. In certain interpretations, the black-eyed children might be part of a larger demonic presence, with their insistence on entering homes or vehicles seen as an effort to disrupt the boundaries between the human world and a more sinister dimension. The idea of pestering as a form of demonic manipulation, breaking down psychological defenses, is a theme that runs through various cultural traditions. However, there are also those who take a more grounded approach to the phenomenon. Skeptics argue that the reports of black-eyed children could be a case of modern folklore, a kind of urban legend that has evolved over time through shared storytelling. Some suggest that people may misinterpret or exaggerate normal events, such as children with dilated pupils due to fear, illness, or exhaustion, and inadvertently contribute to the myth. In this view, the phenomenon could be a product of suggestion, with individuals subconsciously shaping their experiences to fit the narrative of the black-eyed children. Despite the ambiguity surrounding the origins and nature of these entities, the black-eyed children have left a lasting mark on the world of paranormal lore. They've become a fixture in online communities, with websites, forums, and social media pages dedicated to discussing sightings, theories, and related experiences. Some self-proclaimed paranormal investigators have attempted to find evidence of their existence, while others approach the stories with caution, recognizing the power of folklore and the psychological effects that such legends can have on communities. The rise of the internet and online platforms has only helped to amplify the black-eyed children phenomenon. As more and more people share their encounters, the stories take on a life of their own, blending fact and fiction into a larger collective myth. Whether the stories are fabricated, the result of psychological misinterpretations, or genuine paranormal events is still up for debate. However, the fact that these tales continue to captivate and terrify people suggests that there is something deeply resonant about the fear of what might be lurking just outside our understanding of reality. Ultimately, the mystery of the black-eyed children serves as a testament to the power of folklore in shaping our perceptions of the unknown. It shows how modern urban legends can evolve and endure, tapping into our collective fears of the unfamiliar, the unseen, and the supernatural. Whether or not these children exist in any tangible form, the legend of the black-eyed children will likely continue to intrigue, disturb, and inspire those fascinated by the unexplained for years to come. The Bell Witch legend is one of the most well-known and unsettling paranormal stories in American folklore. It originates from the early 1800s in Adams, Tennessee, and has been passed down for generations, becoming deeply embedded in the local culture and history. The tale centers around the Bell family, who lived on a farm in rural Tennessee, and the mysterious and disturbing events that allegedly haunted them for years. The haunting began in the early 1810s when John Bell, the patriarch of the family, and his children started to notice strange occurrences around their home. At first, these events were subtle. Mysterious knocking sounds, footsteps, and the unsettling noise of chains dragging across the floor. The Bells initially attributed these noises to natural causes, but as time went on, the disturbances grew more bizarre. The family started hearing a disembodied voice, which would sometimes speak in riddles or mock them, taunting them from the shadows. The voice identified itself as the Bell Witch, claiming to be the spirit of a woman named Kate Batts, a neighbor who reportedly had a long-standing grudge against John Bell. According to some versions of the story, John had swindled Kate in a land deal, and the haunting was said to be her form of revenge from beyond the grave. As strange as this explanation seemed, it began to fit with the increasingly unnerving events taking place on the Bell farm. The hauntings escalated, with physical manifestations becoming more common. Family members reported being slapped, pinched, and scratched by an unseen force. The most disturbing reports came from the Bell's daughter, Betsy, who was just 12 years old at the time. She was allegedly subjected to violent physical attacks, being pushed, dragged, and slapped across the face by an invisible entity. Neighbors and local friends who visited the farm to investigate witnessed these events firsthand, some of them even claiming to see Betsy being physically assaulted by the unseen force. But the Bell Witch didn't just use physical violence to torment the family, it also demonstrated a startling level of intelligence. The entity was said to have recited Bible verses, answered questions with remarkable accuracy, and even mimicked animal sounds. The voice would change, sometimes sounding male or female, and sometimes it would switch between different tones, creating an atmosphere of confusion and fear. Some accounts also suggest the entity spoke of future events or made cryptic predictions, adding to its mysterious nature. Over time, the Bell Witch began to focus its attention on John Bell, whose health began to deteriorate. The man, who had previously been strong and healthy, started experiencing strange symptoms, including paralysis, confusion, and hallucinations. Some local legends suggest that the Bell Witch was directly responsible for his decline, with some accounts even claiming that John was poisoned by the entity. In 1820, John Bell died under mysterious circumstances, and many people believed the bell which had claimed his life. After John's death, the haunting reportedly continued for a short time but eventually seemed to dissipate. The entity allegedly declared that it would leave the Bell family and would not return for another 7 years. True to its word, the hauntings ceased for a time, but the legend of the Bell Witch endured. In the years that followed, the Bell Witch story grew in prominence, and it became one of the most enduring and famous paranormal legends in American history. The Bell Witch Cave, located near the Bell family farm, became a focal point for those interested in the story. The cave was said to be a place where the Bell Witch's spirit was most active, and it continues to attract curious visitors and paranormal investigators to this day. The Bell Witch's legacy has had a profound impact on American culture, inspiring books, films, documentaries, and countless discussions about the paranormal. Some people believe the story is rooted in real events, pointing to the many eyewitness accounts of strange phenomena that were reported by those who visited the Bell farm. Others, however, remain skeptical, suggesting that the tale may have been exaggerated over time or could be entirely fictional. Skeptics point to the possibility that the Bell family may have had a psychological or medical condition, such as mass hysteria or a neurological disorder, which could explain the strange events. Alternatively, some suggest that the family may have fabricated the story for attention or to capitalize on local superstitions. In any case, the Bell Witch legend continues to fascinate people, drawing them to the area in search of the truth. Paranormal enthusiasts and skeptics alike visit the Bell Witch Cave, hoping to uncover evidence of the supernatural. Whether the haunting was real or simply a case of myth-making, the story of the Bell Witch has left a lasting mark on American folklore. The mystery of the Bell Witch serves as a reminder of the power of storytelling and the role that folklore plays in shaping our understanding of the world. The legend taps into deep-seated fears of the unknown and the unexplained, reflecting humanity's ongoing fascination with the supernatural. Whether one believes in ghosts, spirits, or simply the power of myth, the Bell Witch remains an enduring part of American history, a haunting story that continues to intrigue and unsettle all who hear it. Centralia, Pennsylvania, is one of the most infamous ghost towns in America, and its story is both tragic and hauntingly surreal. The town was founded in the early 1800s and, by the mid-20th century, had become a prosperous coal mining community. At its peak, Centralia had over 2,000 residents, and coal mining was the backbone of the local economy. But beneath the surface of the town, something disastrous was quietly brewing, leading to its eventual decline and abandonment. In 1962, a fire broke out in a landfill near the old mine shafts. The landfill had been used to burn refuse, and it inadvertently set off a chain of events that would change the town forever. Because of the vast network of coal veins running underground, the fire quickly spread deep into the mines. The fire could not be contained, and despite multiple efforts over the years, it continued to burn unchecked beneath the town. As it smoldered, the fire released toxic gases, such as carbon monoxide, into the air, and the ground above it began to shift and crack, creating hazardous conditions that made the town uninhabitable. The residents of Centralia began to experience the dangerous effects of the fire in the 1970s. The air became increasingly toxic, and residents reported smelling sulfur, a byproduct of the burning coal. The ground became unstable, with sudden sinkholes appearing, swallowing up parts of roads and even yards. In 1981, a young boy was nearly swallowed by a sinkhole that opened up beneath his feet, prompting local authorities to take more serious action. By 1984, the Pennsylvania state government began relocating families out of the town, and by 1992, the U.S. Postal Service officially revoked Centralia's zip code, symbolizing the town's near-total abandonment. By the early 2000s, only a handful of residents remained in Centralia, despite the growing danger from the underground fire. Some chose to stay in their homes, defying the evacuation orders and continuing to live in the increasingly dangerous environment. However, by 2013, only 5 residents remained, and all were eventually forced to leave, leaving behind a near-deserted town. Today, Centralia is a ghost town. Its buildings are decaying, roads are cracked and overgrown with vegetation, and much of the area has been taken back by nature. The fire continues to burn underground, and experts estimate that it could keep smoldering for several more decades, if not longer. The air quality is still hazardous, with toxic gases periodically being released from the earth. As a result, much of the town is off-limits to visitors, and access is restricted by law enforcement due to the dangerous conditions. Centralia's eerie atmosphere has drawn tourists, photographers, and urban explorers, fascinated by the decaying remnants of a once thriving community. Footage of Centralia today reveals a desolate landscape, with mist often hanging over the hills, abandoned buildings, and cracked roads. It's a place where time seems to have stood still, frozen in the aftermath of the fire's destruction. Visitors come to witness the haunting remains of a town that, in many ways, no longer exists, and the silence of the place is unsettling. The influence of Centralia extends beyond the real world and into pop culture. The town's haunting atmosphere served as inspiration for the fictional town of Silent Hill in the popular video game series. The eerie, smoldering underground fire, the abandoned buildings, and the sense of impending danger all mirrored the setting of Silent Hill, which is known for its foggy streets and terrifying, otherworldly landscape. Centralia's desolation and the dangers posed by the underground fire are clear parallels to the video game's themes of decay, mystery, and fear. The environmental and social impacts of the fire in Centralia have been significant. The underground fire has disrupted local ecosystems, and the area is now considered uninhabitable due to the toxic gases and sudden ground subsidence. The once thriving town, where generations of families worked in the coal mines, was torn apart, and the community that once existed there is now gone. Many residents were forced to leave their homes and businesses behind, never to return. For those who lived there, Centralia's abandonment marked the loss of a community and a way of life that had been tied to coal mining for generations. Centralia is a stark reminder of how nature's power can disrupt human settlements, and how the consequences of industrial activity can have lasting, far-reaching effects. It's also a testament to the fragility of a town built on a single industry. When that industry is threatened or destroyed, it can lead to the collapse of an entire community. Centralia's story is one of environmental disaster, but it's also one of human resilience, as the residents fought to hold on to their homes for as long as they could. Today, Centralia lives on in the memories of those who once called it home, and in the stories shared by visitors and urban explorers who venture into the abandoned town. It also serves as a powerful example of how human settlements are shaped by the forces of nature and industry, and how, when those forces are out of our control, they can leave behind haunting reminders of what was lost. Though the town of Centralia is largely forgotten by most, it remains a significant piece of American history and a fascinating site of urban decay. Its eerie atmosphere, combined with the mystery of the underground fire, continues to captivate those who are drawn to the strange and the unknown. The story of Centralia, like the fire that still burns beneath its soil, is far from extinguished. As we wrap up this chilling journey through Centralia and other eerie locations, the mystery is far from over. In the next episode, we'll be diving into 2 of the most disturbing and controversial conspiracies in modern history: the Montauk Project and MKUltra. What if secret government experiments involving time travel, mind control, and human manipulation were happening right under our noses? These programs, shrouded in secrecy, have left behind a trail of confusion and unanswered questions. From the strange events of Montauk, New York, to the CIA's MKUltra mind control experiments, these dark chapters in history continue to raise alarms and fuel speculation. So, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon because you won't want to miss the shocking revelations we have coming in Part 3.